the rack pull, one of the most butchered exercises in all of bodybuilding. I'm going to talk about why you should do it and improve yours step by step. What's going on, guys? Larry Brown here. If you hear some rumbling going on, it's a little bit cold here in Minnesota. I got the furnace going, but hopefully I'm talking loud enough for you all to hear. Hey, thanks for checking out this video this morning. If you can, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to put out a lot more content, at least once or twice a week, to not leave you guys without anything. So please, it would mean a lot to me if you could like, subscribe, and even share this video if I provided any value to you today. All right, today, the rack pull. Again, like I mentioned, probably one of the most butchered exercises in all of bodybuilding. Like The Rock said when he was beating down Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania, it doesn't have to be this way. It is a very effective exercise to help improve your upper back muscularity, to improve upper back thickness, to improve strength. It's just a great exercise all around. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to help you improve yours, and hopefully you go back to the gym, start on the rack pull, and then you just break it down and bring you back up a little bit. So I'm going to go into my history, the why, how, programming, and final thoughts with it. So first, starting off at the history, at least my history of the rack pull. I didn't start doing rack pulls from a powerlifting perspective in which I have history in. I started out doing it from a bodybuilding perspective because I saw one of my favorite pros at the time, King Kamali, getting ready for the 2001 Mr. Olympia, doing rack pulls outside or inside of Gold's Gym in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Only the real know about that one. Saw him doing rack pulls, and the immediate thing that I saw is how powerful it made his back look, how he performed the exercise. I was just like enamored by it. So I went to the gym, I tried it, and 315 was a struggle. It was a struggle at the time. So I said, there has to be something to this exercise where all these pros are doing it. All these pros are doing deadlifts. They all have great, thick-looking backs. There is something to this, not only rack pulling, but deadlifting off the floor. There is something to this. So let me figure it out and go from there. So lo and behold, we do rack pulls, we do chins, we do deadlifts, and my back grows immediately. Even more so than what it was already, because I've been doing chin-ups up until that point ever since grade school. So to add in something that could just bring out upper back thickness, density, that just added to the degree of back development I already had. Now, I will say I was still woefully underdeveloped in my lats, but with that being said, that gets fixed later on, but that's a whole other different conversation. But my history with the rack pull merely came from a video that I saw one of my favorite IFBB pros do at the time. So now we're going to get into the why. I've already stated it a couple of times. You want to improve upper back density, you want to improve thickness. On some level for a bodybuilder, you also want to improve strength. But check this out too, right? This can actually be some sort of a lat developer if you go into some of the technique cues that I'm going to give you. So overall back development is what you want with this. And the key to it, or one of the good things I like about the rack pull, is that you don't have to involve the quads, the glutes, or even the hamstrings in this exercise. You can literally set the pin, this pins in the rack to where you need it. And I'm going to talk about that too as well. So now that we've gotten into the why, let's get into the how. So with the rack pull, I think the one thing that people do is that they want to stand perpendicular to the ground. So I'm going to demonstrate this, and please, I'm sorry, my drawing is terrible. And this would be from the side, right? So say this is your rack right here, right? And we're just going to draw your legs right now. This is you. Okay. We'll do a little bit shorter because I have a short torso and long legs. All right, this is you right here. You set the pin down as low as possible, right? And you want to be right here. You want to be right here, right? When you're in that position, you're taking a lot of what you're trying to target for hypertrophy purposes out of the movement. Okay? You're involving glutes, you're involving hams. Yes, we do get a lot of good lower back. It helps out a lot with the lower back as well. So you're getting a lot of that, but you're trying to eliminate the involvement of these muscles right here. So where your upper body goes in relation to the pin is very, very important. So you could probably say the legs will probably be a little bit shorter. So it's not even starting mid-shin, right? It's starting close to your foot. If you are a power lifter and if you're weak off the floor, then yes, 100%, absolutely, you want to work that section of the lift that is going to translate to you pulling it off the floor, and pulling it off the floor effectively, violently, and in proper form. But if you're doing this for bodybuilding purposes, this is not the way to go, right? And again, I do apologize for my drawing. I've never claimed to be Vincent van Gogh or anything like that. So let's erase this guy right here. So let's start over. Again, this is your rack. I'm going to lengthen this out a little bit. This is your rack. These are your legs. This is where the pin is. So let's put this pin around about mid-shin, right? Again, long torso, big ass head. See the difference? Now, keep in mind, I probably should put this bar a little bit higher, so let's just do that for illustration purposes. I'm gonna set this bar a little bit higher, right? Or set the pin a little bit higher. All right, this is the bar right here. This is kind of where you want to be, okay? So instead of mid-shin, you kind of want it right around about your kneecap, right around just above the knee, right? You don't want to do it mid-shin. Now, keep in mind, this is from where I'm at. If you have a shorter torso, short legs, you're obviously going to want to set this up individual to your height, okay? However, I recommend starting, if you are a taller guy like me, and in bodybuilding, 5'9" is kind of tall, right? Or 5'8", that's kind of tall. If you're Stuart Sutherland, you're probably a little bit, disadvantaged. You probably got a difficult time getting on rides at Great America. Hi, Stu. But in any event, this is kind of a good place of where you want to be if you're a taller guy, because as you can see, you're up a little bit more, so the involvement of your glutes and your hamstrings are going to be out a little bit more than what you would be if you were perpendicular, and also you're a little bit more, not vertical, but you're on a slant, so you'll be involving the upper back muscles more. Okay, now here's another how that I think a lot of people don't understand, or they get messed up on. So if we're training the upper back, we need to engage those upper back muscles, right? So the way to do it is, instead of approaching it with a limp dick, right? You're just having the bar, your shoulders are hunched over the bar. No, the first thing that you want to do is that when you get to the bar, you're gonna lower, you're gonna grab it, right? Or strap up if you're at a heavy weight, right? Then the thing you want to do is that if your shoulders are over the bar, you want to draw them back while flexing your back at the same time. The best cue that I can give for that, and I haven't found a more effective cue, is to pretend you're breaking the bar across your thighs, right? That is the best thing that I have found to give, a best instruction to give people when they're trying to master the rack pull, or they're just adding it to their routine. You need to pretend that you are breaking the bar across your thighs, like physically trying to break it. And that way your shoulders roll back, you crunch down on your lats, and then you pull. Now, another secret to this movement is not to bounce up and down. It is to pause each rep on this bar right here. And the secret to getting the most out of that pause is to keep your back engaged. So you're going to continue to break that bar throughout your entire set. You're not going to let up on the tension on your lats, right? Like, yes, that is a lot of holding. It is a lot of static. But also at the same time, I don't really program these for higher reps anymore. You may get a set of 10 to 12 inside of the programming that I may write, but also too, this is a neurologically dense exercise. So what I've been doing lately, and what has been recommended to me, is to front load the neurologically dense stuff at the front, and then just go for more of the pump sarco style training that's going to attack a different type of muscle fiber. So pounding in the front, pumping on the back end of the training session. Boy, I almost had to pause that. So with that being said, this is something that, and keep in mind, when I'm explaining this, I'm going into the why, and it's usually from the perspective of my why, right? But when I program it for people, I also put these at the front. The reason I put them at the front for me is because I train fasted, and I want to get this super heavy shit out the way first. When I have the most energy, when I have, if I'm on a pre-workout, if I have a pre-workout running through my veins, I want to get this out the way first. All right. So that is the how. Now let's get in a little bit into the programming. Again, start at the front, lots of sets, low reps. I think I'm up to about, right now, 5 sets of 6. So that number will probably more than likely creep up. At some point, I'll get to about 8 sets of 6, just because the more reps that you do in something like this, the quicker your form is going to break down. Now, this is not a powerlifting style workout. I'm doing Jay Cutler style rest intervals, 45 to 60 seconds rest in between. I'm locked in, I'm not talking, I got my headphones on, and once I get to that top weight is gonna just stay where it's at. I'm not gonna pyramid up. I'd rather just pyramid up week to week to week, and then just go with that. Because again, with something like this, it's fine to just be able to stay at a weight and not have to worry about, oh my God, do I have to do a heavier weight? Oh my God, you don't have to PR and everything, guys. Learn how to take a weight, take it through multiple sets, and move it just as efficiently in your later sets than you did in your first set. That's a key. That is progressive overload. All right, just making sure that you move the weight efficiently, as well as your first set is like you do in your later sets. So getting into that, you want to definitely get stronger, but it's going to be on more of a slower week to week basis than over set. So that's just something to keep in mind too. And I strictly do rack pulls on back days. All right. Again, it is my first movement. So if I'm going to place this, it's going to be at the front, and then following that, that's where the fun begins. If you're looking for more lat development, you could do single arm rows on the hammer or on the dumbbell. I follow these up with bent over rows. I'm probably going to stop because at that point my lower back is very fatigued. So I need something to stimulate more lat development more, and that's something that you may want to keep in mind. So you may go rack pull, lat pull down, chest supported row, something like that. If you are a young man and you can tolerate all that rowing, I would recommend, instead of rowing with the bar, you've seen a video, and I'll attach it in the link in the description. You've seen me row with a Kabuki row bar, trap bar HD, where it's not a totally enclosed trap bar. It's like half of it is cut off, so you can row and get your elbows back a little bit more. I recommend that too. But you could do the post rack pull workout. You could do it in a way where it just elicits a massive pump. I did one where the workout that I put up, that's in the description, the post rack pull work, that was strictly just to get as much blood into the muscle as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible, because I was on a time crunch that day. So the programming for after the rack pull, you can play around with, and it should always be, all of this training should be hypertrophy centered, but also at the same time, you just want to push a lot of blood in there, break down the most amount of muscle you can, and if that means you got to do some more rowing, and I'm a fan of a lot of rowing and a lot of back workouts, if you need to do more rowing, do more rowing. Never be scared to put in a lot of rows. Your biceps are going to be smoked, but also at the same time, your back development is going to be great, and just put biceps on a different day. So the final thoughts leading up to this, guys, we got to start getting away from not rack pulling, not deadlifting. I know what a lot of people say, and I know I'm going to be disagreed with, but the saying success leaves clues is a vastly underrated thing. Success does leave clues, and if some of the best backs in bodybuilding have been built with rack pulls, have been built with heavy rowing, have been built with deadlifts, there's something there. And everything works. It works for a time, and then you have to replace it or discard it totally. A lot of people swear by the bench press for chest development. I haven't done a regular bench press in months, and it terrifies me every time I get up under a bar, so I choose incline press or incline hammer press. Always analyze your training. Don't rely strictly on science. It has its limitations. Don't rely strictly upon your experience and biases. Those absolutely have limitations. But the beautiful art about bodybuilding is that it is individualistic, and then if you've been in the gym for a while, you can kind of mesh and flow and put things together in a cohesive, easy to understand routine. All right? So with that being said, that is my thoughts on the rack pull. That is my thoughts on why you should do it. Hey, like, subscribe to the channel. We're putting out more like this. But if you're not doing rack pulls, please do them. Get back to being big, strong, and powerful, and looking intimidating in a shirt or in a tank top. Let's get some back development going. Let's stop these 2D physiques from getting out there in bodybuilding. Let's make it disgusting again. All right? Until next time, guys, Larry here, signing out. And I hope this brought you some value. If it did, leave a comment inside of the video. And if it's something that I can improve, hey, I'm open for conversation. So let me know, and we'll go from there. Y'all have a good one. Take care.